Pat Howlett. I'm excited to talk about the use of our book with
Yeah.
you transforming a chamber. And where was your chamber when you started? Because it was in a little bit of trouble.
Actually, I was in a lot of trouble. First of all, welcome. Good to be here. Thanks for taking the time to watch this. I'm in Trinidad, Colorado. So that's 14 miles from the New Mexico border. It's on the Santa Fe Trail. It's got a great history. Our chamber started in 1881. So we're about 143 years old. Okay. And so we've seen a lot. We're the second oldest chamber in the state of Colorado. Okay, and just an amazing place. Come to Trinidad. Okay, when you get a chance, you'll love it. Sadly, politics got into our chamber, and I'll be real quick on this because politics is a crazy subject these days. But politics got into our chamber, and our chamber stopped being about success, member success. It stopped really being about, economic development, and stopped being about the result of those things was improving the quality of life for our young and old and everybody in the community. And it got more into politics and events. And so we did a lot of events, okay? But events usually cost us money, We're in a small rural area. We don't have any big companies here. The biggest employers here are the city, the county, the school district, those kinds of things, okay? We don't have mines anymore. We used to have mines that would employ hundreds of people, and we'd have lots of mines, and they would be able to stroke a pretty big check to the chamber. But we don't have those, okay? And that happens in a lot of rural America. We're in this transition period. And so long story short, I was a member of our chamber, a board, and it had just gotten off the rails. And I'm an ex-military guy, so leadership is important to me, and focus and mission and objective and those things are kind of important to me. And we had gotten off track, and so we got ourselves. We had 88. We had just done our big fundraiser, and we had $88 in the bank and over $5,000 in debt that I could see on the books. And the board at that time was about ready to throw their hands up and say, let's hire an attorney and let's dissolve the chamber. Okay. The problem is they didn't have enough money to hire an attorney to dissolve the chamber. And so I'm really involved in our community, and I'm kind of involved in all communities I'm in. And so I got with the board members that were there, and I said, if you'll step down, do not do this. Do not dissolve this 143-year institution. This is not yours. You're a steward, and your stewardship has gotten off the rails. No problem. We'll still love you, but you need to step aside. And I said, we'll set a new board. And we had an executive director at the time, and our funds really were set up to where we did enough events to pay our executive director, but we were always in arrears on things. Okay, the books weren't really that good because I don't think we had a real mission, and we certainly didn't have processes in place. And the book we put together really has to do with processes. It has to do with setting a process together, having a system together, have something that if you do this thing and you consistently do this thing, you will get this outcome. And we had proved that for over a decade now, that if you do it, it works. If it doesn't work, you're not doing it. Okay. So it was really simple like that. So we went in, and I said, I didn't want to, frankly, I didn't want to do this job. I wanted to goof off. I want to travel. I don't color my hair. This is real white. And so I wanted to goof off, but I'm a community guy. And I thought, you know what, I can get a group of people together that really want this chamber to succeed. So we went in there. We kind of that was in October of 2023. By October of 2024, we had $25,000 in the bank, paid all of our debts, because our debts ended up being a lot more than the $5,000 that were on the books. We had other folks that we owed money to, but they had just thrown up their hands and said, the hell with it. I don't really care. I'll quit the chamber, and I don't care if they pay me back any money. And that was the newspaper. We owned several $1,000s to the newspaper. We owned money to a lot of different folks. And so we contacted all those folks. And if anybody we found that we owed money to, we told them we're going to pay you back your money. We did. So we are debt free now. And we got about $20,000, $25,000 in the bank. It kind of fluctuates. Okay. And then we decided we were going to focus. And we're going to focus on those three things: member success, economic development. We're at the table of every government entity or any entity that sits down and talks about economic development. We need a seat at the adult table. Until we can start leading it. And then we need to make sure that the results of those things, you can look around and our kids playing in the soccer fields, are our playgrounds in good shape? Do our seniors have great things to happen? Because the result of a good economy should be those kind of things, right? It should be able to provide for those folks. So that was our. So we didn't get a mission statement. We got a mission, okay? Which I think a lot of folks get mission statements and they'll spend a lot of time making it really pretty and it'll be nebulous and it'll sound really good. But again, as a military guy, to me, those are just words. What's your mission? What's the objective? What are you trying to do? And so we did that. And now, so I can say now we're going to be the first chamber that actually is regional. As I said, and I'll finish this up quickly, but I think it's important to now where we are and how are we using relationship marketing to grow what we have. As I looked around and I got the book, the listing from our city clerk and the county clerk of how many business licenses, who has a business license in our service area. We're the Trinidad and Los Animas County Chamber of Commerce. Okay, what's looking at it from a business perspective? What's our target market? What's our market? Who's our prospects? Who can we sell our product to? Okay, and it ended up being, when I did the math, if we got all the businesses in Trinidad and Los Animas County to join the chamber, and since we don't have big businesses, they're all going to be less than 10 employees. And in our matrix, that's $200 a year. If I got all those businesses to join, we wouldn't have enough money to afford a full-time executive director and pay them a reasonable compensation, something that's deserving of what their job will be. And so we said, this isn't working. And during the last couple of decades around everywhere, chambers are dying. Chambers are faltering. In our area, we had so many chambers or business groups or alliances or whatever you want to call it, try and stand themselves up, only to sit themselves down and stop after about a year or two. Okay. I mean, many, tens, could be 100, but certainly tens of them, just in our region, just in 3 counties of where I am. So I reached out to Colfax County in New Mexico, Huerfano County just north of us, and told them, we're on the Santa Fe Trail. We were doing commerce before the United States was a country, and certainly before Colorado and New Mexico were states. Commerce with us 3 is legendary. It's always been. And so can we stop thinking about this invisible line between Colorado and New Mexico? And can we start collaborating together? Because in my mind, the only way out of this was to expand and collaborate. A lot of chambers decide the only way for us to make money is almost to become a tourism board and give out flyers on what you can do. Here's where you can kayak and do that kind of thing, or put on events. Hey, we got this big blues fest coming. We got those kind of things. We didn't want to go that. We wanted to actually be an old school chamber of commerce with a couple of objectives. And so I reached out to the folks over in Colfax County, the biggest city over there, and the county. I reached out to the biggest city in Huerfano County and the county. And I said, listen, this is what we're going to do. Now, we're going to do this. So first of all, I got to tell you, we're not asking permission. We're going to do this because it's the only way we can survive. We've got to take a regional approach. Now, we're going to think regional and act local. So we're going to think the 3 counties, the 2 states, but we're going to act local to where we can actually know that Trinidad's doing things best for Trinidad. Raton, New Mexico is doing things great for them. You know, Walsenburg and La Vita in Colorado, they're going to do the things best for them. Because although we live in a region, there's certain things that actually economically work differently in all of our places. Like we have a train going through us, but we can't do any small scale manufacturing of those things in Trinidad, but they can in Walsenburg because the Burlington stops there. And so what we said is, listen, each of us, if we did things, we bring, my model always is we're making stone soup, if anybody ever remembers that fable. And yep. I said, we're bringing the pot, we're bringing the stone, and we have water. I just need you to bring what you can be. And some little chambers like Cimarron and Springer and Clayton, we just need them to bring some salt and pepper and some spices, herbs. The bigger ones like the counties or whatever, we need you to bring some meat. The rest of us will bring potatoes and carrots and those kind of things. And we're going to make a stew that'll actually last and be sustainable for all of us. And I got buy-in from everything. So we're moving from that to the Calexico Alliance. Okay. And so that's who we are right now. Make sense, Martin?
Yeah, I have a few questions of how you got there because I know
Okay.
the chambers who are listening to this will want to know what were some of the things that you had to do to go from being in debt to turning a profit? I mean, you had to restructure the people, and also, did you get a new board? And what was the filter for the board? Because I'm a huge advocate. If someone's coming for a title on a board, never let them in. If they're coming to roll up their sleeves and work, get clear commitments of action.
Well, so here's one thing that helped us when we really took this attitude that we need to clear the decks, we need to burn the boats. When you decide those kind of things, you will only get people that come forward that understand there's no boats. Okay. So my board's awesome. Okay. We give a directive, we give some assignment to somebody and they do it like they're business professionals because that's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll deliver it when the time schedule needs to be delivered, and they'll bring other people in as they need it. And we'll assign homework to two people, three people. So I don't have that problem. And I know that problem. I belong to a couple of groups, both on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I see the problems that are out there. Okay. So by having a firemen run to the fire, right? And they bring other firemen. And so
Mm-hmm.
we had that thing. And we actually look at it like that. Since lots of chambers are falling apart in our area, when I reached out to the firemen in Raton and Colfax County and the firemen in Huerfano County, they came running because they knew where the fire was, and they were experiencing the same wildfire of not economic development, stagnation, the inability to attract businesses, the inability to attract folks. So I'll say, to answer your question, what we had to do first and foremost is we had to stop the politics. And we had to let people know that we were apolitical. Politics for us would be, what is the city doing that affects business? See, we had gotten to our chamber had gotten to the point where they wanted to run the candidate forums and be the folks, but they would ask questions that had to do with Second Amendment. They would ask the mayor that was running for the mayor of Trinidad, an 8,000 person town, what they were going to do about the Second Amendment and abortion. Now, you can have your own opinions about that, but that has nothing to do with the Chamber of Commerce's business. And so we had lost trust. And so the first thing I always tell whether it's a chamber person watching this or it's a business person listening to us, is the first thing you sell to anybody before you can sell them a product or service is, are you trustworthy? Can they trust you? And since we had broken trust, we had to really sell trust. And I would say it took us 6 months to really have certain people say. And so once we broke that and we said, we're not political anymore. Here's our three tenets. This is not a mission statement. This is what we're going to do. We are going to help with member success. And you'll start seeing that. When people go to join the chamber, they ask that with them question, right? What's in it for me? And we had a terrible answer. We had an almost embarrassing answer. You had almost, you know,
Can you give
welfare.
a few examples of answers?
Well, again, we didn't have an answer. So
I
our
see.
answer was, well, we're the chamber. Well,
Yeah.
you can help us with Santa Fe Trails Days.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be on our website. And again, when you start talking to folks that are under 35 that own businesses, they have an
Mhm.
entirely different perception of a chamber. See, they don't remember that it was the chamber that helped have baseball and soccer and those things. And it was chamber members that had the banners in center field and helped pay for the stuff. It was the chambers that did those kind of things to make their youth. But they don't remember that. And if they do, it was kind of a, well, thank you, you know. But they don't look at chambers as something to join into. They look at it, they believe this siren song out there that says, if you get enough likes and followers on Facebook or fill in the blank social media, you're going to be successful. You may end up being an influencer. And boy, you're going to be great. You'll have your own channel on CNN or Fox News, you know? Just get enough people following you. And you and I know it's just the opposite. Just the
Right.
opposite of that. So when we started building trust, and since we had paid debt back to people, since we had honored the commitments that the previous board didn't honor, and again, these were good people. I'm not saying they were bad people. They just got off track. Forgive them. Let's move on, right? But when we started doing those things, we started having those companies say, I want to belong to that. I'm in again. And then we had other companies. We had one of our best known restaurants here that's amazing. Tequila's great operators. I think they own 3 across different places, but the one here in Trinidad, and they're based out of Trinidad, so one of our success stories. They celebrated their 20th anniversary becoming a member. They had never been a member of the Chamber of Commerce before. And so they became a member. And so here's the thing: once you sell those people, and so here's what I'll say the contrary about influencers. I think it's hooey when it's online. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. But when it's offline, and I was able to get those folks that had said, I'm getting out of the chamber because they owe me money and they didn't treat me right. And they now tell people I just joined the chamber again. And then you have folks that weren't chamber members. So I always think when I'm trying to sell, I'm not a sales guy, I'm a marketing guy by kind of trade. I always say, eat the biggest, ugliest frog first. Go after the biggest freaking problem you have. When you fix that problem, the other problems get a little tastier, a little easier to get down. So when we sold trust to people, we probably got 50 members to come back. Now, we had gotten down to only 50 members, maybe not even that, right? Now, we had a lot of people in our database, about 150 people in our database that had been members. Now, when the mines were going, we were a 500 member strong business or organization. We got down to about 150. A lot of those folks didn't even want, a lot of those, 100 of those folks hadn't paid. They were in arrears. Okay. We had about 50 folks they were banks and folks that almost had to be a chamber member, right? So we got all the folks that have to be a chamber member. And at $200 or $500 a year, that was not even a thought to them. They stroked that check easy. Get out of my face, right? But when we sold trust and started getting and did the hard work of recovering from that and let people know that, hey man, this chamber may survive. It took us about 6 months. Money started coming in. And then we started doing more stuff. And then we started really delivering on things. We redid the website with what's in it for me. We're going to show you what's in it for me. And I hope that we have an opportunity to let folks know how advanced we've taken that. We've made it to where that $200 is, I don't care if you ever go to a meeting, go to a luncheon, go to a networking thing, go to a coffee, go to an after hours. I don't really care about that. We made it to where you don't have to do anything and you can see that your $200 is the best investment you could do. $200 with our Chamber of Commerce is worth more than $200 spent at Google, Facebook, any kind of marketing, boosting your post, Instagram, any kind of those kind of things. Spending somebody the $200 to help you a month to do your social media posts. We were able to prove that our $200 here was better. So, and then so that's kind of what we did. We did trust. We paid our bills. We got focused on those 3 legs, the 3 legs of our stool. Member success, and let's make sure that we have an answer for what do you get when you join the chamber. I can share some of those things, but the
Yeah,
real
no,
point is
please share those, and I just want to ask a little more because this is a case of a chamber that in my view was dead and just
we were
being propped up by legal structure that you've now made a success story. Pretty important because I go around and see all types of chambers just hanging on by their fingernails and some are happily sitting in their office and hoping you'll be the way it used to be. And I think you threw the book out and said, okay, we need to be driving the economy here. We need to be showing it. Could you tell a little bit of how did you get some of that first trust back and how did you start getting people to write a check? Because one thing I hear that I teach is listen for who actually has the power, not the title.
yeah,
Because in every town, there are people that have, it might be the little coffee shop, it might be that restaurant. Who's the most respected in town?
that's
Big Mill
exactly right.
Bed and Breakfast. I mean, she ran for mayor over there in Williamston. Chloe, I think I would find a way to be able to go vote for it. I mean, she's
Well,
done more to help
Martin,
that economy.
well,
Go ahead.
I'll say this, and I'll point back to the book and the course you
Yeah.
teach. We teach that in everything, whether you're a handyman or you're a multi-billion-dollar company. The relationships you have with people and who truly are influencers and who truly are referral partners that you can count on because they can count on you, right? That's part of what you would teach somebody that would bring your class in, right? But I will say, I'll kind of say this: As to chambers suffering, yeah, it's chronic. It's actually a crisis, I would think. But that's not just us. Look at a Lions Club, a Rotary Club, a Kiwanis Club. Look at any service clubs. They're, and they did and can do great work, but the young folks aren't tapping in. So the first thing we had to identify is that we needed to change ourselves, and we needed to get more into where they were. We couldn't say, well, we don't do Facebook, or we just do post to Facebook. We had to say, what are our members doing on Facebook, and how can we noticeably prop them up so they see us? So sometimes early on, we made a list of who's our influencers. And it's not the mayor. If the mayor was going to help the chamber, the mayor would have helped the chamber. But most mayors aren't helping chambers. You know, most mayors look at chambers like, you just want some money. Good luck with that, right? But they're not engaged. They don't look at a chamber of commerce as a referral partner or a strategic partner or an economic partner. At least we find that in a lot of rural areas of people I know. And so the first thing we had to do is we went to those folks, and let's say we'll take Tequila's restaurant. We made sure that anybody that had access, I actually opened up the access to our Facebook page. We actually we did two things. We changed the way we communicated on Facebook. And so what was our acceptable use policy on Facebook? Then we increased the number of people that did that. And then we trained them of what is the voice of the chamber? What is the social media mission of the chamber? And it's not politics. And it's not posting crazy stuff like that alienates 50% of people or more. It's promotion. And I told our chamber board at the time, we are a 142-year-old startup. We have so much history and so much things that no one could ever get from us. And if we lose, you should start another chamber, but it won't be 142 years old. I let folks know, everybody that ever did anything in Trinidad, Colorado, that built these businesses, that brought the railroad and that did the mining, they were all members of a chamber of commerce. We are that legacy organization that spans time. And most chambers don't adjust to it. They think that what they were before, and again, most of them have morphed into tourism boards instead of chambers of commerce. You know what I mean? They're on Main Street. You go in, somebody goes in there and said, hey, where can we go tubing or rafting, or where can I take the kids? Okay, could a chamber have that as a function? We had the city actually, we got out of that business, and I worked with the city, because I do work with the city, and the mayor now does work with us, and the city manager does work with us, because we became relevant. I let everybody know that I don't have members. I have voters that have employees that are voters. It was one of my first meetings with the city manager. It's my first meetings with the city council members that I sit down with. I let them know, just understand, you can see me as the president of the Chamber of Commerce, but understand, I have voters, and we will move things, and things that actually come into our space. We're not hosting political functions again in forums, that kind of stuff. If we need to talk to any politicians running, we're gonna have questions. We're gonna have questions that have to do with business. They're gonna see the questions ahead of time, and we will do like what we're doing right now, a video interview with them, so they can answer it. They already know the questions ahead of time, so nobody's trying to make them look bad. We're not trying to make them look bad or good. We want their opinion about what they're going to do on a certain function. We did those videos. We turned over the newspaper forum to the local newspaper. We said, you and the radio station do this stuff. That's your realm. We told the city, you need to take over Santa Fe Trails Days. If you want it, take it over. We'll provide volunteers. So what the chamber is for events is we're the promotion service. Because I also told people, I've got an email list that you'd love to have, and you can't get on it. You can't get on it or in it unless you're a chamber member or you're doing something to affect economic development. So if you're doing something to affect economic development, I will send that out, because I still had we didn't get rid of members. I didn't care if you had paid or not. I needed you. What I needed to do is win you back, but I didn't need to get rid of you, because if I get rid of a customer, it's really hard to get them back. But if I keep a customer and try and re-earn them, whether I'm in the chamber business selling memberships and sponsorships, or I'm in the widget business selling blue and red widgets, same thing applies, as long as we're dealing with humans, right? Humans act the same way all the time. So so we went in and we said, these are the things we're going to do. If you have an event, I can provide you with volunteers, but I'm not going to have my volunteers. I'm not going to wipe out my volunteers by doing 4 big events a year to make money to pay an executive director and pay for our offices and our expenses. I'm drying people out. I'm just burning people out, you know. And in a small community, 8,000 people, a lot of my volunteers are also volunteers for school stuff and volunteers for other things. They wear multiple hats of good community activity. And so, we said, I send an email to my 150 business owners and I tell them to share this with their employees. I send a flyer to them and I send it that I'm going to hit a couple of thousand people. You tell me what mechanism you have that can hit the business leaders in the community, and I'll pay that. I'll pay for that. What we started doing is saying these are the real benefits and the power that a chamber has. Chambers are 501c6s, and that means we are an organization that's legally by the federal government allowed to advocate for our business members. It's the only type of organization like that. No one else can sell memberships in my service area. I've got an exclusive there. So what we try to do is change our story about what a chamber membership is. A chamber membership isn't being in the directory or being on the website. A chamber membership is being part of something that's moving economic development forward and making the community, the quality of life better for our citizens. Now, you know what? I don't have any problem getting $200 from any business owner when I say that to them. Because they say, I want a piece of that. I want some of that. If I say you're going to be on our website, most of our younger members say, I got a better website than you. And I got 10,000 people following me on Facebook. And I said, whatever. But so what we had to do is change who we are and update who we are. We dropped the word chamber because we found the word chamber actually meant old to a lot of our under 35 folks. So we're going to be the Flexico Alliance. We think the kids will find that cool. And whether you like that thought or not, it's a reality. These younger folks are not joining any of those service clubs and they're not joining chambers. So how are you at your chamber addressing that? So some of our functions have to be almost more like speed dating kind of things rather than networking things. They almost have to be like after hours, but after hours, not getting together and having cocktails and talking chamber business and passing business cards around, but cocktails, but after hours going bowling and after hours going to just a show. And we're the chamber members, we're not meeting there. We're not talking when we go to the Trinidad Lounge and they have a show and we say, hey, let's do an after hours at Trinidad Lounge and a show. We're such a small community that we just say our members go have a drink or not a drink, drink water, drink soda, drink bourbon, whatever you want to do, eat some food, let's listen to some music, and they sit with other non-members. What we try and do is we try and as a chamber be public. We want people to see us. Now we don't wear red, we wear blue. We just go out there and when we're someplace and somebody says, hey, I haven't seen you out in a while. Well, the chamber's having this after hours. We're doing it here. Well, are you guys meeting? No, we're not. Well, yeah, we're here. We're putting money into the Trinidad Lounge right now, having fun, because our goal is to move money in the economy and get it to rotate 7 times. So when I bring, let's say 25, even if it's 25 folks, the Trinidad Lounge, who's not even a member, again, we do things in places, most of our luncheons and those kinds of things will be in member places, but we also try and find a time to go to some place that isn't a member, but should be a member. Because I can tell anybody, and at least in our area, I can tell any business owner, and let's say they're a restaurant and they have less than 10 employees. Most of ours do, okay? We have a lot of true mom and pop and a kids working there after school and that kind of thing, businesses, okay? So if you're in that kind of place where that's who we are, you're not talking to a guy with a big city chamber. But so I go to let's say Trinidad Lounge and I say, hey, listen, Curtis, we're thinking about, you're not a member, but we're thinking of what we'd really like to do something in your place. Obviously, if you were a member, I'd just tell you, hey, when can we set this date? But you're not a member, but this is what we'd like to do. And I think I can get about 25 folks into your place for some music. They'll pay $10 at the door and they'll buy whatever drinks they have and eat whatever food they're going to do. That's on them. The chamber's not sponsoring any of this stuff. We don't have the funds to do that, nor is it appropriate. But I can tell you right now, I do that. You're going to make more than your $200 dues for the year. you're a business that I can put your $200 back into the first night I come to your place. What do you think about that? Do we have almost like do we have a deal?
Mm-hmm.
And most folks say you can do that. I can do that with a donut shop. I can do that with anybody because what I have, I may not have a lot of folks. And again, we only had 50 at the time. And most of those folks were disgruntled or inactive, right? So we only had maybe 25 people that actually, if I emailed 150 people, I could get 25 to do something. But I knew I could get 25.
Mm-hmm.
And nine of them would be my board. We even started out, I'm just going to bring a board. We're going to have coffee at the Kangaroo Coffee, and I'm going to let them know the chamber's coming. Kangaroo Coffee became a member. They saw instantly all the chamber has to do is have a board meeting here a couple of times a year, and I make my money back. That's what's in it for me. So some businesses, we were able to say, answer the what's in it for me. Well, I'm going to bring more than $200 to your business a couple of times this year. And I'm going to be sending an email to 150 people who employ most of the people in town, and they're going to do this. And I'm going to put it as an event, not on our website, but on Facebook. And I'm going to invite everybody that's connected to our members, because we do have 2,000 people following us there. So when we do this, I'm going to do it. And you're going to post it on your Facebook, and the chamber's going to share it over to our Facebook page. That one event that I do, go talk to a marketing company and ask them what it would cost you for them to do what I just told you we're going to do. Email marketing, an event on our website, an event on our Facebook page, your shared post on our Facebook page. Tell me that's not worth $200. And I have people saying, well, hell, that's worth $200. And I didn't even ask you to attend a meeting or luncheon or anything else.
Yeah, and here's the thing is you kept that bigger list if they were still members or not, right?
You're exactly right.
That's the
And
thing.
so
So what you
let's
were
get
doing
some of
is you're
the,
branding the chamber's coming, and you didn't care what body was there as long as they bought something and went to the event. That's the brilliance.
and I treated all those non-paying members because, again, I know why they stopped being members. They had one time voted for us with their dollars and become members, and some of them active members, and most of them still valuable communities, the real influencers in our thing. We just hadn't made a strong enough case to them that they should continue, but they didn't go in there and cancel their account, and they always had the power to do that. And so I said, forgiveness. We're going to provide grace. We're going to forgive anybody that line, and we're going to talk about it. And over time, because they started seeing things, folks that were there were the first folks that said, okay, how do I pay? And so all we did is we created how-to videos. And by the way, if you ever, and we never said, watch the video on how to, renew your membership. We said, hey, you can watch this video on how to post your events, or how to list a commercial property, or how to do such and such. Well, the first video underneath the main thing video is how to renew your membership. You
Yeah,
have to
you
scroll
might
down
even
to the
have
end.
one on how to optimize your Google Business profile from the chamber, right?
Well, what we want to do we have a plan for that. What we want that to be in-person training.
Ah, got it.
Okay. We want functional stuff of how to do stuff with your profile and the website, do things, but other things like I just taught a couple of weeks ago, our first time I've done it in years. Martin's the guy to hire for this, by the way. But I just taught a relationship marketing workshop through what's called the Emergent Campus, which we're not going to go there, but it's an amazing thing, who are now partners of ours. Didn't cost me anything to use their building. They let their folks know. We came in there. It snowed 8 inches that day, and we still had 8 people, nine or 10 people attend. Okay, I was almost going to cancel it, but I had enough people say, no, I really want that. So we'll do those kind of trainings there. But the thing is we didn't get rid of anybody because we knew they were our folks, and we knew why they had left us, and we apologized, and we asked them for forgiveness, and we told them. When I have kids, 4 kids, and our thinking with regards to an apology was you had to say you had to say you were sorry. You had to know what you're sorry for, and then you had to tell your brother and sister you won't do it again. If you weren't able to do
And
those
then not
3,
do it again. Let's
and then
make
not do it
sure.
again, right? If you didn't do those 4 things, then you hadn't apologized. You had just said you're sorry. Now, Your sorry is a short-term word for I apologize. We've shortened it to something, and now it means whatever you want to make it mean. But in most things, it means hi. It's the smallest kind of thing. So we took that attitude at the chamber. We said, we understand what we did wrong. We're sorry that we went that road. If you were of a certain political party and the other party had taken the chamber over, we're sorry that they did that, and we're gonna write that, and we're gonna do that by not being political. And then we did action. We got rid of the political forum. We got rid of doing any of those things. We made sure when we did it, it was only in our wheel lane. What are you going, Mr. or Mrs. Mayor candidate? What are you going to do that will really help our business members and the business community at large? So that's a question we should be able to ask, because we're a 501c6 and we're almost required by law to advocate for our members, not our political parties, but our members on their success. And so once we were able to kind of do some of those things, it kind of worked. But I really want to go into where we are now, because that's all past baggage stuff. Okay.
Thanks.
Where we are now is, again, I'm the president and the executive director. Okay. Now I own 2 other businesses. I've got grandkids, and so I've got a life. So anybody that ever says I don't have the time, stop it. You just don't have the priorities, but you have the time, right? And so what we did is I said, okay, board, here's how I want all of you guys to do. We're going to take this list of members and the list of the past due folks, and I want each of you, and I'm going to send you a spreadsheet of this, and I want each of you to put your initials or your name next to people you know personally. And then I want you to put kind of something in this column over here of what you think might bring them back. And then we're going to triangulate who knows. So do 3 people know the same business that isn't a member right now? And can you guys go out and just reach out to them? Drop in. Hey, I don't know if you know it, but I'm on the board now. Are you a member? I don't get access to that stuff. Yeah, white lie. Sure. And don't have any problem with it. Okay. I'll even tell somebody while I'm white lying them, by the way, I'm white lying you, but it's in your best interest. So we did that. We started working through that. That started paying dividends. And what we started doing is, who do you know that knows who you know? And let's get all of us 9 folks, to reach out to these people and do that. And then we said, once we bring them back, now let's relationship market. I want you to then ask the next question. Who do you know that's not a member of the chamber that should be a member of the chamber? And can you introduce me to them? It's become our outreach. That's what we do. We don't have flyers hanging all over the place. We don't do much of that kind of stuff. We don't want to put the money towards that, for one, because we're trying to build up our war chest, because we're going big. We're a 143-year-old startup that intends to be the first in the country that spans 2 states, multiple national and state parks, and maybe in total 20,000 people is all. We got this big territory that's bigger than most states, certainly most northeastern states, with only about 200,000 people. It's good to be me. I get to live here. It's amazing, you know. But then, so we started that, and then here recently, about 2 weeks ago, we brought in an outreach coordinator, contracted position, an outreach coordinator, and their job is actually to look at our membership and look at who's doing things, and in Facebook find something they're doing that's relevant to our mission and share it. Certainly comment on it, post it, because here's one thing about it, that if you go out, that most Facebook posts don't have much engagement. I mean, the ones that are set up as clickbait and to rile people up, there's thousands of crappy things on that. But the ones in our local areas, that's just somebody trying to say, hey, I'm the coffee shop, and we just came up with a new thing for spring. 3 likes, couple of loves, maybe a share. But when the chamber goes in there and they're a member or not a member, because again, our whole goal is economic development, not just member success. The first thing is member success. Number 2 is economic development. We work with everybody. Now, when everybody sees us working with everybody, then everybody wants to be with the folks that work with everybody. People love collaboration.
When they see our lead is true economic development
Oh,
in
yeah.
their community, this is where you go, don't you want to join the club that's doing this?
Well, I tell you, I tell you, and I'll tell you what happened. The city went forward and wanted to do a new lodging tax increase, double it, go from, I think, 3.5% or 2.8% or whatever to 6%. Okay, lodging. So when you get in the hotel, there's going to be an extra 6% put in your tab. I have all the hotels now with me because one of the folks I reached out to your point earlier, was a gal by the name of Cy Michaels, who everybody in the hotel business loves her. She's the real leader in hospitality and tourism because she's officially been that leader for so long. Okay. I had her sit on our chamber board and I said, Cy, truthfully, I don't need you for a long time. Truthfully, I'm going to be using your influence in the community. Just want to tell you right now. But you and I are aligned in one thing. We want things better for here. We want tourists to stop and bring their wallets with them. And we want economic development. We want to improve our schools. And so I need you here and I need you to rally the lodging community because the city is going to do this. And we're going to now go tell them, because when I first became president, I told them, just understand, I'm not just the president of the chamber. I'm a mover of votes. Mm-hmm. Especially only local votes. Now, we don't do anything regional. We don't do anything outside of our service area. We're a city and a county chamber. But in the city and the county chamber, I am by law allowed, and my members require me to go to a political official and tell them the chamber does not like that you did not bring us into this lodging tax increase. You're doing something, taxation without representation. You know how that always works out. And you're doing something, and rather than that, you're leaving the experts, the subject matter experts, out of this thing. So here's what we're going to do. I need you to do 3 things for us to be behind this, and I need you to commit to them. I need you to commit to transparency, accountability. We need reports, and a plan. What is the plan that this new group that's going to take these dollars? What is the plan? If you don't do that, then we're coming out against this. If you do that and it's kind of weak, then we may stay neutral on this vote. But I told him, I can swing this vote. Do not push me, because between now and election day, I am now empowered by being a 501c6 chamber president. I am now empowered to actually go to social media, and I'll change the vote. This vote will not pass. I'll tell you right now. Because what I'm asking for, transparency, accountability, and a plan, we should ask all government entities for that, especially as a business community. So then they said, you know what, Pat, we're going to try and do that. We had changing city managers. One left, and then we got a new one in. I had to go talk to them. We had a mayor change and a new mayor. I had to go understand, had them. And then I wrote a letter to the editor. So what I use that as an example of, I use it as like a shot across the bow to our city, that I meant it when I said we were going to actually be formidable. So now we get invited to stuff. And now our members saw that play out. Now, some of them did not like tax increase. They don't want to do things. But we also had the city do something that was really unique in the way that's been, is a 30% of that tax increase has to go to citizen benefit, citizen quality of life. We negotiated some of those things, that it wasn't always for tourism. It wasn't all for making things for getting marketing to get people to come to our town. We said, yeah, we want you to do that. And that's 35%. But what we want, and we want 10% for arts and culture, the folks that are creating art here, because we're wanting to be known as that. And then we want 30% to be allocated towards community quality of life, fixing parks, creating trails, doing those kind of things that are for our citizens. And then now I could go back to our folks and say, we're out of politics. I told you the third leg of the stool is improved quality of life. I just delivered on the improved quality of life with real money and not chamber money. I took some money out of the city thing that was going to be done. It passed overwhelmingly. And so we have a different state with that. So for me, I don't make a lot of demands on anybody. But if you're the president of your chamber of commerce, you actually need to be making sure that you're advocating for your members. You're forcing them to be included at the table, and you're forcing there to be some accountability to them in what that the city's asking out of that public sector of your commerce. And that was our lodging and hospitality industry. And we're Colorado, so we're a tourism, at least a third of our stuff is tourism based, right? So it wasn't a big ask for me to tell the city, you need to do this. And if you don't do this, here's the consequences for that. And I'll be in the paper, because you know what? We paid the paper back the money we owed them. I can get an article written in our paper tomorrow about anything I want to be written about, right? Why? Because we delivered on our promise. We're trustworthy and we're staying in our lane and we're not political, right? All those things are important. So now we hired, so to get on, now we hired an outreach coordinator. One of the first things I did is I gave her our book.
Yes.
Said, I want you to
Read the
read this.
book.
I said, I want you to read this.
Yeah.
And then you and I are going to do, and then she was not able to get to that training I did because, again, 8 inches of snow and she lives up the river from us. So I said, okay, we're going to set up a couple of little blocks of time where I'm going to show you how to do this. We had one yesterday where we went through the way I wanted her to reach out to people that were in that past due stage, where we can go to our website. I don't want people to get you're past due and your membership will be canceled. I need them to get that because that's the official thing that we need to do because that's where they've taken their account to. But we've scheduled that so much that there's a sequence that happens after that. There's actually, and now I have this thing where when that's going to happen, or it's just happened, my outreach coordinator, a day or two or three, sends them an email saying, hey, listen, I've just joined the Chamber's outreach coordinator, and I want to make sure that everything's good. I may do a drop in to see your business and find out how we can, and she's going to actually say how we can help you as a member. She's not going to say, you're past due, can I come and collect the money? She's going to say, I need to know more about your business because it's really important. And I may do a drop in, or maybe if it's okay, I can, or we can do it through email right now. I'll make sure that you're on this thing, blah, blah, blah. And and bullet items. I'm a copywriter also from a more, so not big paragraphs, small sentences, bullet items. Here's the things we're doing. Here's the things we're doing. And I said, and the third one is something I want that we're doing that's specific to them, their niche. Because again, when I'll go back, when I reconstitute this board, I didn't reconstitute this board with just anybody that said, I have time and I have passion to join the chamber. Because in all frankness, you get a lot of retirees when you do that, or people just with time, or some people with agendas. The past board was 9 people with different agendas. A couple maybe agreed on things, but they were certainly good people. They just went straight. Okay, so we have cannabis in Colorado, so I have a cannabis person. So I made sure I reached out to somebody that the cannabis community respected, and I said, I'd like you to sit on the board. I went out and recruited. I recruited Cy Michaels in hospitality, and I told them all, listen, I don't need you here forever. It's a 2-year term. I don't need you here forever. I just need you here for the reboot. We don't need me here forever. If we need me for a long period of time, then I have failed as a leader. We need to make this organization that no one person is the champion. We have champions, but some of our champions needs to be our business owners that never show up for anything. And I think we can get there, right? So, we've got Alexis, we're meeting, she gets the book. I first sent her the PDF version. Okay. Then when I saw her, I handed her the book because Martin had provided me with 10 copies that I cherish. Anybody else, I said, I only need 10 because anybody that wants the book, I'm going to have them buy it.
Right.
But I'll seed it with the stuff Martin, provided me. And so we started talking about, so yesterday we went through that kind of thing. Then we went through the spreadsheet. Okay, now here's where people have said they are, and here's where people are. And I want you to start doing things. I want you to actually drop some names. Hey, did you know that such and such are connected? I want you to actually look at I want you to actually study some people. Who are they also connected to on their Facebook profile? Who really engages, not them personally, but their business? Who really engages their business? Oh, well, that person engages that business and loves it. Well, that's Suzanne at the Trinidad Lounge. They love the owl. If they love the owl, clothing store thing, whatever its name is, let's work on both of them at the same time and provide them both of the same stories, and let's let them sell each other, and let's let them know that we're talking to both of them. Hey, by the way, I have noticed online. Be truthful. I have noticed online, and you and Suzanne are great friends. I'm the new, outreach coordinator, and I was going to be calling on her later this week too. And I just got to you first, but we're trying to see if both of you would like to join the chamber, and here's the reasons why. Okay. And then we created, I hate flyers. I have a publishing company, so we print it, in entertainment magazines and that kind of thing. But I really don't like flyers. I think those are just meant for the trash can, as soon as possible. And
Hold on,
but
I
we
have to tell
created.
you, a comedian said when someone hands you a flyer, what they're saying is, "Would you throw this away for me?"
That's how I look at it. That's I 100% agree. And quite frankly, it's not funny. A comedian can make something so unfunny funny because it's so true, right? And but we came up with one, and we came up with that as a leave behind, understanding that it was going to be throwing away, but understanding when I have her out there doing drop-ins, we got to be respectful when we do that, especially with folks that aren't members or people that have a bad taste of their mouth. Okay, so her mission was to do a be back, I call it. Listen, I'm not on your schedule. I know I'm not in your calendar. I don't even know how your days get set up and going, and I don't want to be disrespectful of your time. So I just meant to drop. I'm Alexis with the chamber. I'm the new outreach coordinator, and I just wanted to drop this off for you to look at. I'll come by it maybe another time. And usually the person, especially in a place like this, isn't that busy. They do have time. They just wouldn't have time if we popped in there and said, "Hey, I'm with the chamber. You want to join?" And so the flyer actually goes over what we're going to be doing with the Calexico Alliance. We're not selling now; we're selling the future. And we have a great past that we can sell somebody. 143 years in the West. Again, we're older than the state, and we're older. We're just a little younger than the state. State will be 200 years old here soon. It's 2026. We're the centennial state, so we'll be 200 years old. But we're not that much younger than the state. Okay, so we're as far as chambers go, we're established for a long period of time, and so we could sell history, we could sell what we used to do. But again, my attitude was burn the boats. You know what? We're not going to set up beer garden, because here's one of the things that we found when we were doing events is we were now a competitor against companies that actually did events. We were now, when we did an event and got the city to shut down the streets, and we did a beer garden and a bounce house and those things, we sell beer for $5. Moose's across the street wants to sell beer for their $6 because they have employees and rent. Is Moose going to join us? No. And so you end up getting down that slippery slope of events and those kind of things because you haven't been able to sell enough members. And it's like, we've got to find, now I'm all for different streams of revenue. I mean, we now sell access to what used to be a sponsorship for a luncheon. Means that the bank could actually, or some insurance person or a mortgage person, no problem with those folks, but they had the money to be able to spend $150 or $200 or whatever it was to sponsor the luncheon, only to go to luncheon and bore people for 45 minutes or half hour, whatever it was that they got on insurance or mortgage or whatever, to be a pitch fest for somebody, right? So you're going to a luncheon and you have to listen to somebody talk about something that you're really not interested in, but they'll pay for it. They've got you. I started looking at this. We had power because people would do it, and so we changed that. Still $200, but you may get 10 minutes at the luncheon because we're there about member success and networking members, and we want people to move around, sit with different people. You're going to get 10 minutes, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to put your banner on our website. We're going to send an email out to all our folks. We're going to post you in our event. We're going to share that kind of thing. If you want to post something on your Facebook says that, hey, I'm going to be a speaker at the luncheon, we're going to share that to our Facebook profile. That's worth $200, and I don't need to give you 30 minutes or 40 minutes to bore our members, right? That's a new revenue stream for us. So we have 12 luncheons a year, one a month. So I don't have that's not a lot of revenue opportunities. So I've got to make sure I maximize those 12 times, 12 sales opportunities a year, right? Of increased revenue, of a different stream of revenue. But as we move forward and as we grow, I can go from $200 to a lot more than that. Because again, I've already stacked the benefit stack. My benefit stack isn't just speaking for 30 minutes. My benefit stack is all the other stuff, exactly. And so now we're in this thing to where our board members understand relationship marketing, not spray and pray or hope marketing. They understand that we're in the relationship business. They also understand that now how to do an introduction and a referral to somebody. And I've given them the go ahead and here's my attitude on the following is, if you ever watched Miracle on 34th Street, you understand that Santa says, no, don't shop that here. At Macy's, we don't really have that or it's overpriced. Go to Gimbel's, they have that. It's okay for us to bring in other folks that aren't members. And so what we try and do really big is before somebody's a member, we try and get a referral to them. Because if we get a referral to somebody, I did this with a hotel that wasn't a member. I had somebody joined the chamber and they're bringing about 20 people in from Texas to do a motorcycle ride on one of our incredible scenic loops. Okay. Go through the mountains, go through some really cool towns. It's amazing. Especially during the change of autumn or when spring's popping or when anytime actually. They called me in the chamber and, hey, listen, you need to do such and such. And I said, well, here's what I would do, you know, and I'd do this and do this. And you're going to go here and you're going to go here and you're going to go here. And that's what I would do. And right after I got on that phone call from him, I reached out to that hotel and I said, you're going to be getting a phone call from this guy. And he's with a biker group and they spend money. They're here to spend money and have a good time. And I told them to stay at your place because they could park their bikes right outside. You're a motor hotel right out front of their rooms because they've got these multi-$1,000 machines that they love. And they could see them right outside the room, not down in the parking lot. And you've got a great restaurant there where they can all get together without having to go ride someplace. They can go into town and do all kinds of things because it's really close, and they can ride. And then I told the guy, now you can stop in Segundo at Ringo's Market. That's where you'll gas up because it's the last gas station there. Then I called this Ringo's Market in Segundo, not a member, and said, by the way, just so you know, I'll get you the date sooner or later, but it looks like around June. Group of about 25, 30 bikers are going to come through town. I told them to stop there and I told them to come into your place. And it's a great place to restore, not just fuel up their thing, but then I called somebody in another county because keep in mind, I'm playing the game in the future. So now I called the place down in Stonewall, not a member, now a member, not a member, now a member, because their chamber's doing something for them, right? I said, and guys, you probably need to, if you're interested in barbecue, you guys should stop right into the Hallmark, whatever lodge, because this guy is all about barbecue. He has the lodge for his wife. He's all about making barbecue. And he's from Texas, like you guys, Texas brisket. They said, oh, we'd love to do that. Yep. So that's kind of where you go. He's now a member. And then I said, then you'll go over the past. Now you're being Huerfano County. You'll want to stop in La Vida and you want to stop at Charlie's, have a little ice cream, maybe stop in the Mountain Mermaid Brewery and stop there. I knew they weren't coming to June, right? And I knew he had to make a bunch of phone calls. And he called me actually yesterday to finalize things. Well, I reached out on Facebook. I reached out to the Mountain Mermaid and I said, hey, listen, by the way, working with some, now they're in another county. We're not even done with the Calexico Alliance. We've not even moved Huerfano County into our thing. And I'm already working for folks over in these areas that I'm in. We just did a letter of support. I found out that the Cimarron Chamber of Commerce, which is about 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half, 90 minutes from where I am right now in Mexico, New Mexico. I found out they were having a problem with a bank pulling out. I reached out to them and said, hey, listen, I heard you guys are having a problem with a bank pulling out. We'd like to write a letter of support for you, and we will start contacting other banks to see if they can expand there. Their president reached back and said, like this doesn't happen. Thank you. We're really in desperate need because that's the only bank here. We have seniors that do. We'll have to drive an hour one way to the closest bank. Our businesses will have to actually employ somebody to go and do a 2-hour thing just to make a deposit of cash. Because you can do a lot of online banking with cash is in person stuff. So we did that. We reached out to their bank. We reached out to other folks. So if you want to expand, it's one of those things we used to say, Martin, in LinkedIn. If you want to have a network of people that will maybe help you get a job, start looking for the job and connecting with people before you need the job. You know, don't lose your job and then finally fire up LinkedIn and say, I know I've been gone forever, but I'm back and I'm looking for a job. You know, be there at least active a little bit along the time, because once you go to activate your people, you need less than 200. You need 200 or less people to actually have a viable network that will actually make you millions of dollars. I say that from experience. Let me say one thing on that, if I may. Can I? On LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely.
Martin and I met because I had this big, I had set up this big network I called it the largest privatized chamber of commerce in the world. And it was at the time. We had 4,948 people before Facebook allowed businesses to have business pages. We had almost 5,000 people, all non-anonymous, all with their own picture, their own stuff, with rules, engagement, things are going online. It was called Inside 919. And that's how Martin and I met. And quite frankly, I was kind of just growing a little slowly. But when I connected with Martin and we got a chance to sit down and talk, and I said, this is what I'm trying to do. And he understood my vision because him and I are both passionate localists. When Martin said, I'm in, and Martin started inviting people that were there, I would say I could contribute easily 40% of the direct contacts that joined Inside 919 that I'm still connected to today and they still like me, came from Martin. One person brought me 40% of that 5,000 folks. So when I decided to start retiring and goof off a little bit more and see if I was good at that, I went to LinkedIn and I was connected to over 8,000 people. I connected to lots of folks. I'd been in lots of different things and industries because I love that kind of stuff. 8,000 people. And when I made the decision to actually change my life and not be a consultant and not do those kind of things anymore, I went first to the folks I couldn't help. And I had been a community manager. It was called a global community manager for a company called Cree, big LED company. And I had done stuff for them for about 18 months. And so I was connected to a lot of people all over the world. And I said, you got to go. I can't invite you to a barbecue. And if you had one, I wouldn't come to yours. I got down to 107 people on LinkedIn. And I will tell you this, I just fired up a travel publication because I have a publishing business, travel publication. And I am more successful right now with connections and people doing things I would like to do. I'm still not at 200 people, but I'm more successful right now with that small group of people building because I'm focused. I have one message. I'm delivering value to people. I'm working through relationships on people. I'm more successful with that than if I had the over 8,000 people. And I'll just tell you, I have the data, and I'm a data guy. I used to own a data company. I have the data to prove that. So you don't need to be big. Small is the next big. And so if you were to actually get Martin and you bought the book or you brought him in to talk to you or you brought him in just to talk to your board, I would say if you're a chamber, you hire this guy because this guy's not available. I'm not available. I'm goof off. I just got finished today with 135 hour fast. I've been on a water fast for 135 hours. Stopped eating last Sunday at 5. And this is stuff I want to goof off and do some other kinds of things. But if you hired this guy, if you're a board and you hired this guy to come in and just teach your board how to do things. I mean, he has access to me. So everything I know about what we're doing in chamber stuff, it's in his head too. We're connected. But I will say this to you. If you're floundering, and you guys are having a hard time putting together a positioning statement, and then the specific strategy that you have to use to answer the question, what do you do? And if you don't have a good answer for that, and we had no good answer for what's in it for me, what do I get from this? We had to work on that answer. I'm talking about a chamber board member or a chamber employee has, and again, if you sell widgets or you sell vitamins or whatever you sell, you're a chiropractor. You have to have the answer to when you're in a social environment and somebody asks you, because they will ask you, and what do you do? You have to have a very specific answer to that. And then you have to have the next transition things to that thing. So what Martin and I say is we just do structured word of mouth, but structured word of mouth, word of mouth, but word of mouth with strategy and tactic, word of mouth, but word of mouth with processes and systems. That's how we operate. So I have no doubt that if we were to talk 6 months from now or a year from now, you're going to be talking to a guy that's helped lead a really group of dynamic people who really are mission oriented because we're focused in our wheelhouse. You're going to talk to a guy that actually had the chance to lead a group of those people to do economic development for a region that desperately needs it. And I will say this, being being in a chamber and running a chamber, it matters. I'm doing this because it's work that matters. Capital letters, quotes, matters. And I know this for other businesses I own. When I evaluate towns, small towns, the ones that have a chamber or a merchants association or a business alliance, they may be struggling, but they're thriving compared to the communities in rural America that don't have you. And so the work you do matters. I just would, if I could end, because I think we're kind of getting to an end here,
Mhm.
if I could kind of bring this to a close, the work that you have matters. Reconstitute your value proposition. Understand what your position is and your objection and your mission are. Shed everything else, burn the boats on anything that isn't mission driven, because I know there's a lot of slippage that we get into and a lot of things we have to do. Fortify the person that's working for you. I also know a lot of chamber boards that don't empower their chamber executive director. You're supposed to do vision, long-term planning. The chamber director, and if your bylaws give you too much power as the president, give up those powers. My bylaws did that. I saw myself as too powerful. I made sure we hired a law firm to rewrite the bylaws and make the executive director much more powerful than me or any member of the board. Now, can we fire them? Yeah. So they work at will, but can we empower them? Yeah. Can we give them these tools? And I will say the tools that Martin can provide you, from being able to give them a real strategy and a process and a system, can change the way they sell memberships, because they're not going to sell memberships anymore. They're going to make invitations to people to become members. And when you change from selling a membership to providing an invitation to become a member of something that matters, boy, the sales part of it, it's not a sale, it's a buying opportunity. People hate being sold to, and we all buy shit all the time. Pardon my French, but it really is what it is. We're buying stuff all the time. All the time. We love buying stuff that we like. We have no problem buying things. But we want to buy things that actually match with a value proposition of why we're buying them. And I'm telling you what, right now, if you're still if you're a chamber that's thriving, great. What we do actually would help you. And I make no money from this, okay, on purpose. If you're a chamber that's not thriving, if you're a small rural chamber like me and ones I mostly work with, you need something like this, because quite frankly, what you're doing, if you're doing legacy chamber stuff, isn't working, and you're having the results of a system and process that quite frankly doesn't work anymore. And to continue to do that, the old saying is a sign of insanity. And so to stop insanity, let's not act like a service club, because they're failing too. Let's not act like us old world chamber of commerce, because we're failing. Mine failed. Mine literally failed. 142 years we'd have stopped. That's just, when I think about it, I want to cry, because I live in where you live is probably a beautiful place and you love it. And so surround yourself with subject matter experts. We make sure that anybody that wants to apply for our board had to have been not a member in good standing like they paid, because that's all the bylaws was before, member in good standing. Well, that means you could have paid. And we had people that were paid 2 months ago and want to be on the board. We say because they wanted to bring some California or Texas ideas to Colorado. Well, quite frankly, we're fine being Colorado. My point is, we make them do some things. What's your volunteer hours? What have you done? Anything else? Have you brought in any members? Have you done any things? I'd rather have a board that's just a quorum of folks that are doing things. I'd rather have, so we're a 9-member board, okay? So I need 5 folks.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather start with 5 folks that are committed in doing those things and be really tough about who comes in those last 4 positions. Okay. I'm hiring a board. I'm not setting up a board. We have a process, and then we have a training that has to do. We make sure that I sit down with any new board member for a period of time and onboard them like they're a client, like they're a valued client, like there's somebody now, or valued like one of our now new regional managers. I want them to understand our mission, our focus, our processes, our tools, our vision, our plan, who we're going to work with. And then I want them to be a subject matter expert. Like I said, we have a subject matter expert in housing. We have a subject matter expert in professional service. We have a subject matter expert in childcare and senior care. Somebody who works for our county, that's their role, brought them in to do that stuff. That way, if I ever talk to the city or county and I want to talk about anything in any of those categories, cannabis or lodging or whatever, I bring that subject matter expert that they know is the subject matter expert. They know if I show up to our mayor with Cy Michaels, they know exactly what we're going to be talking about. And they know exactly what our power really is. Because I'm not there as the president of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm there as a person that's that, but I just brought with me the powerhouse from the lodging community. And we're going to be talking lodging. And she knows more than the both of us, so you ought to listen.
Yeah,
So that's what we do.
outstanding. Outstanding. Well, this has been so exciting, and I really wanted for chambers to hear a little bit about your progress of taking a chamber that was dying and transforming it into something that's in demand that serves the community. Because, Pat, I believe the small and micro business of America is the backbone of our country. And
Well, it's
we
good.
need to work more together on the ground, on the web, and understand that it's about that's what gives the character for the community. That's what gives hope. It's like Pat, I'll say you bring in a giant industry into an area. Okay, they get a bunch of jobs, but they'll pull out just as quick. You bring in about 5 small businesses that flourish in an area. They don't want to leave. They live there. They have their little candle shop. They hire 20 people. Now you've got
We,
something that's really sustainable, and we want to see everyone working together and reaching out. Pat, in Western North Carolina, we've had a horrible disaster that occurred, and the people that are going to survive are the ones that are working more together, not just themselves, that are being the media, getting content out. Here's what we got: the post office open now. We've got this here. This is the road you need to take to come into us, and
well, let me
working
add.
together. Yeah,
Can I add something?
yeah,
Let me add something to that. While we had no money, while we were trying to get some money, that those floods and everything hit North Carolina, right? And Asheville in specific, that area, right? What we did as a chamber is I got authorized by my board to send them $500. We had not a lot of money. And then what we did is we contacted some other folks in the community and we put on a music event with donations. We sent the Asheville Chamber of Commerce $1,500 from our little chamber. Okay. We're a member of the Asheville Chamber of Commerce. I almost choke up a little bit
yeah. Me
because
too. I was just
that's
there, in fact. Yeah.
that's what we did. So Asheville Chamber of Commerce, when they were in need, Tampa had their problems. We sent them $500. What we did is now you know who really loved that? Who doesn't want to be part of that? When we did
Yeah.
that, people said, "I want me some of that." And how much is
Yeah.
it? It's $200 for the year. Here, take my money. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do work that matters. Do things that affect change. We can't have any effect on Tesla, IBM, Apple, Nvidia, except by being a shareholder.
Mm-hmm.
We can have an effect on helping stand up a new little business of 2 people and 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
We can have an effect by trying to give them microloans. We can have effect. So maybe for another time, but one of the ways we raise money is we did a freemium product. If you were a new business, you used to have to pay $200, and that was the time where you were spending all your money just to get into business.
Mm-hmm.
We said, if you're an incubator or startup, free for the first year.
Mm-hmm.
We stacked up about 50 businesses. We charged everybody $200. If you're a solopreneur, $100.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be 1 to 10 business employees was with $200 membership. We moved that around. Solopreneur, we carved that out. We created another class. Those were added revenue streams, right? We created anybody that wanted to do it, retired and wanted to do a chamber. We created a $50 a year. Now these aren't big dollars, but I'm in a small area where people are hurting. So these are big dollars to our people. They might be big dollars to a city person or a city business, but they're big dollars to our people. They're it's real money. And so when we started doing that, and we increased the way somebody could become a member, and we lowered the bar for new businesses. I said that when our board said, "Well, Pat," I said, "I'm from the internet world. Freemium is a good product. Give somebody the thing. Give them the free trial. Give them the thing." When somebody gets to a year, I just said, "I'm just banking money. I know I can make it a year just on our current strategy. I don't know what we're doing the next year. But if somebody became a member in November of 2023, I'm going to have money coming in November of 2024. And it happened, right? It happened. And so those are big things. Really look at your membership kind of fees. Really look at your structure. I hate our structure, and I hate the model that I inherited. And I think when we do the Calexico Alliance, we're going to change that a little bit, because it really shouldn't be about how many employees you have. It should be about the value you provide, And so I've got to change that. But that used to be the old way of doing it. And again, if you have a business that has 200 employees like the mine, and you can get $5,000 from them, I understand why it was done. I'm just saying the world changed, and we don't have extractive economy here. So change. If you haven't changed, every business to survive has to change.
Yep.
And if you haven't changed your chamber stuff in the last 5 years, great time. So Martin, this was awesome. Great.
This was great. Excellent. I'll put links below for the book. We also have our workbook. We have our self-paced training online. I'll put that link in. And then the AI version that's rolling out, where they can interact as though it's a coach for people that do training now. They can continue to work with a GPT, and we'll be talking about that for you in another meeting. Pat, if they want to at least know about you, I know you like to be behind the curtain. I'll put my stuff there. Where could they reach out to you if they want to? Should I put your LinkedIn? What would you like?
I guess LinkedIn. Otherwise,
okay, I'll put that. But the truth is, contact me. I'm the gatekeeper for Pat, right? So good.
Thanks, I really am that guy behind the curtain. Thanks much, Martin. Thanks everybody. Appreciate y'all.